We've played with the scale and center parameters and done some cropping. To demonstrate the rotation and anchor point parameters, we're going to create a custom transition. Motion effects are great when you want a transition that pops, but want something you haven't seen 1,000 times before. And we'll learn how to save it as a motion favorite, so it'll be available in future projects in our favorites folder. Just option drag the clip on track 4 into the clear to make a copy. Place the playhead over it and double-click on it. Then, open the Motion tab. Click the red X's beside Basic Motion and Crop to reset the parameters. Rotation is very easy to use. Just give the wheel a spin. Or, enter a number from 1 to 360 in the field and hit Return. Use 180 degrees to invert the clip and 90 or 270 to stand it on either side. Here's the big math test. When we move a clip left and right, or up and down, we're using the X and Y axes. But how about when we use rotation in the Motion tab? Which axis is it spinning on? That's right, neither. X rotation would look like this, and Y rotation like this. And the standard rotation in the Motion tab is on the Z-axis. To use X or Y rotation, you would have to leave the Motion tab and use an effects filter, or send the clip to the Motion app. Now it's tempting to say that the clip rotates around the center point. The center parameter refers to the center of the clip, but the X and Y coordinates refer to a point on the canvas. In other words, where on the canvas do we place the center of the clip? Right now it's at 0, 0. Change it to 100, 100. And try the rotation. Okay, the clip appears to rotate around its own center point. Well, not exactly. The clip rotates around its anchor point, which is currently set to 0, 0, the exact center of the clip. Hit Command Z twice to return the clip to the center of the canvas. Here's what I want to do. I want the clip to rotate around a point in the lower right corner, so I want to maintain the center positioning, but change the anchor point. If you remember the way coordinates worked from the previous lesson, the X-axis extends right 360 pixels from the center, and Y extends down positive 240. So for the anchor point, enter 360 for X and 240 for Y. Now try the rotation. Good. Now let's animate the rotation. The center and anchor points will stay constant. Hit Shift-I to go to the endpoint. Set rotation to 90 degrees, and click here to set a keyframe. Whenever you need to, use this slider to zoom in on the keyframe graph area. Then type +16 and hit Return to advance 16 frames. Since we already have a keyframe set, we don't even need to hit the New Keyframe button. Just enter a value, 0, and hit Return. A new keyframe is created. Back it up and play it back. Not bad, but a little mechanical. The interpolation of the keyframe is constant, meaning that the amount of motion from frame to frame is exactly the same. Let's change that. First, mouse over the line below our keyframes in the keyframe graph area. When you see a resize handle, drag downward to expand the graph area. Now, Control-click on the second keyframe. Here, you have the option to clear the keyframe, but we want smooth. The shape of the line changes, and a handle appears. Play the section back. The movement is the same, but the timing is changed. As we can see in the graph, it starts out moving at a constant speed, but then slows at the end, an effect known as easing. Right-click the first keyframe and select Smooth for it as well. Play it back. It's very subtle, but it makes an enormous difference psychologically, and it's good physics. An object rolling down a hill would start out slow, speed up, and run out of steam once it left the incline behind. That's the irony of motion graphics. None of it is real, but if the movement feels real, it's much more effective. Remove the easing for the first keyframe by control-clicking and selecting Corner. The Bezier handles control the shape of the curve. On the right handle, grab the blue dot and drag it outward to the left. And try to keep the handle on the same plane as the green line to the right. What we've done is extend the slow final part of the curve. The first fast part will be shorter, and the slow part should be longer. Let's see if it worked. Now let's do the opposite. Move the same handle above the keyframe and to the right. We've basically flipped the curve. Now it should start out slow and accelerate to the destination. Play it. Let's bring the handle back to the left so it slows at the end. And this time, I'm going to pull down on the handle, creating a dip in the curve so the rotation value goes even lower than the destination. Play it back. Now, we get an overshoot and a snap-back effect. Let's see how it looks as a transition. Option-drag a copy of the clip on track 3 and place it below the clip we've been working on. Remember to let go of the Option key before you release the mouse. That'll be our outgoing clip. Double-click on it, and in the Motion tab, reset Basic Motion and Cropping. Now, offset the incoming clip, the one with the motion effect, by 2 seconds. Just select it, type 2 period, and hit Return. Now back it up and play. We'll continue to work on this effect in the next lesson.